Okay, we're good. We're good there. And then I'll make you the co-host, Kenna, and I'll let you kind of let people in as
Okay.
as you're as we're ready.
All right. Thank you. Actually, we have the theater bloggers first, then the Chantinets.
Maybe, okay, Kenna, maybe if I could have just like 2 minutes, I'll just give a little bit of overview this year.
Okay, perfect.
Hope everybody's doing well. Appreciate you joining us. We have Councilmember Spencer and Councilmember Lamson with us from the City Council. We're only down to, we have 4 commission members, Spencer being the one that'll join us soon. But still enough for us to be able to continue on with these meetings. And of course, we'll make a recommendation at a future meeting. As you know, last year ended up being a little crazy, and we projected a pretty significant drop in revenue, as did everybody across the nation, and some experienced it, some didn't. Utah did not experience it the way we thought. So last year we projected to have less revenue to give than we had the year before. We ended up with more money to give than we had the year before. So not only did we not get the drop that we thought, we also got more than what we had the year previous, as well as we're on to a pretty strong year this year. So we will have about just over $1.2 million of arts money and $1.2 million of recreation money to allocate this year. We have, I think we've sent everything to you already. We have obviously our nonprofits who will hear from tonight and in future meetings. We also have kind of capital, like physical type projects that we're looking to build as well, both on the arts and on the recreation side. And then you'll see some one-time type costs of things that aren't ongoing. We're looking obviously at a year. We're still treating last year as an anomaly. Obviously, the reason, in many ways, the reason there was so much money is people didn't lose their job, and then they got a lot of stimulus money to spend, and they did spend. And we don't anticipate, we don't know, but we don't anticipate those stimulus checks continuing to come in future years. And so we kind of are treating some of this big bump in money as a one-time thing. We're doing that both on the city, just general taxes, as well as the care tax. So anyways, as we go forward, we're glad we have a year that we can have additional money to allocate. We just recognize that it may not be this high every year. However, as you never know, I guess we didn't know last year either. So that's just kind of a little overview of the revenue and the money that we have to allocate. Thanks, Kenna.
Stephen, should we like to welcome Laurel to the
Oh, yes. Yeah, would you do that, Kenna?
Yeah, so we have a new member tonight. We have Laurel Smith is joining us for the first time, so we welcome her to our committee. We appreciate her being here tonight. So we are going to be having 10-minute presentations, and we'll just let them in as is on the schedule. And after we have all the presentations, then we will have some discussion at the end. Does that sound good to everybody?
And Kenna, maybe I'll just say 10 minutes from repeat applicants, ones that we were familiar with, 15 minutes for anybody that's new that we're not aware of.
Okay. All right. So should we get started? Everyone ready? Okay, so I'm gonna let Russell in from the Utah Theater Bloggers Association. Hi, Russell. Hi, Russell.
Hi, folks. How you doing?
Good. Is it just you tonight?
Yeah, I'm the only person representing my organization, yes.
Great. Well, Russell, we have 10 minutes, and this is our committee. If you want to just start now, and we'll give you 10 minutes for
let me
presentation and questions.
Okay, let me share my screen a little bit. Let's see here. I'm used to Teams. That's what we use at my job, at my day job, not Zoom. So I hope you'll bear with me. Okay. So I'm here to tell you again this year about Utah Theater Bloggers Association. I'm happy that you're having me again this year. Those of you who have been on the committee for the past 2 years already know a little about the organization. We're a group of theater patrons and professionals who advance the practice of live criticism, and we support live theater in Utah by publishing reviews of theatrical production, and we also train reviewers to write and think about the arts. We've been around for since 2010. It's a little hard to believe that it's been over a decade now, and we've had nonprofit status since 2017. In that time, since 2010, we have published 2,029 reviews. We published the 2029 just 2 days ago. And even with the pandemic dragging the average down, we're still averaging over 180 reviews per year. Since 2010, we've reviewed 226 productions, theatrical productions in Orem, and 17 of those reviews have been within the past 12 months. Even with the pandemic going on, we still have a couple companies producing quite regularly here in Orem. In the past year, these readership stats are from the past 12 months, leading to today. We had over 68,000 page views. For reviews published in Orem in the past 12 months, we've had over 4,500 page views. It's hard to trace those to see how many of those are Orem residents and how many aren't. And so I'm sure we have Orem residents reading reviews from shows outside of Orem, and I'm sure we have non-Orem residents reading about productions here in Orem. And we have 26 active members right now. We've had almost 100 unique reviewers. And two of our reviewers are members of the American Theater Critics Association. That is the only level, only organization for professional quality critics in the state. We only have 4 members of ATCA in the state, and so half of those belong to UTBA. So why theater reviewing? Well, it's an art form. It's a genre of literature. We consider ourselves a literary organization that supports the performing arts. We're sort of a weird hybrid there. We also think it's valuable to give honest feedback to artists, to theater artists, especially here in Utah, where there's a culture of if you can't say anything nice, don't say it at all. It's really hard for artists to get feedback from people who are willing to call a spade and tell them when they're doing great work and when they should improve. It also increases patron engagement at the arts. It encourages patrons to think about what they've seen on stage and to engage with it in the form of commenting, sharing, or writing rebuttals, complaints that often come to me. And then it also provides a historical record of productions. We see ourselves as recording history, which has been especially important during the pandemic. We know that people in future decades are going to wonder how society adapted, how different aspects of society adapted to the pandemic, and that includes the performing arts. And we're happy to talk about, in our reviews lately, social distancing in audiences wearing masks, actors wearing face shields, all sorts of things that would be mostly lost to memory as time goes on if we didn't record some of that. We also see criticism as being part of a healthy arts ecosystem. It encourages improvement and excellence. I've lived in towns where there was no criticism, and it makes the arts grow stagnant. Calling out mediocrity and showcasing excellence are both very important, and they're signs of a healthy arts ecosystem. And then we also, like I said, consider ourselves mostly as a literary organization. We build creative thinking and writing. it is a creative act to write a review, and to do your best to convey in language the experience of seeing an ethereal piece of art on the stage. And a lot of writers, some famous, some not, have spent part of their career as theater critics. Dorothy Parker, probably the most famous theater critic of her era. But George Bernard Shaw was a theater critic. So was Moss Hart, who's famous for plays like You Can't Take It With You. It really is a way to develop literature, and we're proud for developing literature in our state, especially with how we can react to shows in Orem, because as this last slide shows you, over 10% of the shows we've ever reviewed in our organization's history are here in Orem. Our Orem has a very lively theater scene. Here's a couple of headlines from recent reviews in Orem. Right now with the pandemic, the only companies we've been able to review lately are Hale Center Theater Orem and Sierra. We're hoping to expand that soon, but you know, you can't do theater criticism without some live theater, and the offerings have been cut back a lot lately.
Russell, remind me, do they know when you're there critiquing? Do they know ahead of time?
Yes. Our policy is that we are organization's guests. They not only know, they pick the date we attend.
Oh, okay.
Arrange for complimentary tickets. So yes, they know, they want us there for good or for bad. Now, thankfully, these are all positive headlines you're seeing here, because we are lucky that the Orem, Hale, and Sierra do good work. I'm almost embarrassed by how much I raved about Spamalot, because I love it so much. But yes, they choose that. We are thinking of dabbling with attending a couple companies who have asked us not to come. And there's a little bit of money in the budget to ask us to do that with UVU. But our board's debating that. It is standard practice at all levels of criticism all over the world to get comp tickets, to not buy tickets. But we're thinking of dabbling and experimenting with UVU, since they, after a couple of shows that deserve negative reviews, have asked us not to come. They've uninvited us, we say.
Okay.
We haven't officially made that change in policy. So I'm glad you asked that.
We have about a minute left.
Okay, great. Just other work we do our reviewer trainings, and we have those open to the public. We've done one a year sponsored by Orem ever since we got CARE funds. Our one this year about reviewing theater for children, shows that are designed for children, had over 450 views on Facebook Live. So we see that as an important way of engaging with our audience. And so we just want to renew the funds we've gotten lately of $25 per review. And like I said, reserve fund, possibly for purchasing tickets to a UVU season. Although our board may put the kibosh on that, but it would be nice to have the budget just in case.
Russell, when they get the $25 per review, is that the only payment to these reviewers, or is there another source paying the difference?
We also get private donations. We also have donations from places like Amazon Smile. The $25 per review, it's $15 for the reviewer and $10 for editing. And everyone knows you're not going to make a living doing this. And actually, all the theater critics who do make a living doing this, I could fit in the country. I could fit in my living room. Very few people make a living doing just theater criticism and nothing else.
Okay.
But it's our token of appreciation. It's gas money. It's helping with the babysitter. A lot of our reviewers are theater artists themselves, or are people who just want to improve their writing and engage with the arts. So this money would only go to Orem reviews, and that's always been our policy, that CARE money only goes to shows in Orem. But we don't just pay for Orem, we also pay for other locations. We pay for.
So time, is there any other questions? All right, Russell, thank you for joining us.
Sorry,
Thank you.
I couldn't get my mute button off. I have a couple of quick questions.
Okay.
I'm just curious, and maybe that's right in front of me there, but I just curious where we would go to read these reviews, and it looks like UtahTheaterBloggers.com.
Yep, and that makes the main page pop up, and the reviews are listed in reverse chronological order, but you can search for a title, a company. We have a bar at the top that says we organize by county. If you click Utah County, you can look at shows in our area. And our standard is, unless it's something like a stage reading or a one-act play, 750 words about the show or more. And ends up being it's a fun genre to write in, actually. So yeah, you're welcome to read over 1,000 reviews of Utah productions.
Yeah, I would love to do that. And then just curious how you go about finding your critics, what kind of a process you go through in screening them. And
people can apply, and occasionally we'll put out a notice that we are looking for people. We haven't done that lately because of the pandemic. We don't think it's very wise to ask people to start seeing shows unless they're 100% comfortable doing so. But there is an application process. We ask someone to send us about 2 paragraphs about a recent play they've seen. And then if we like it, we have them review a show on a trial basis. And then we have at least 2 members of our board read that practice review, that trial review. And if it meets our quality standards, we invite them on board to join the group. If not, we politely thank them for trying it out. I would say probably about 25 to 40% of people make it through the gauntlet. And even then, some of them say, wow, it's hard to do this on a tight deadline. And it's hard to be honest. It's not for the faint of heart. And even then, some people who pass say, ooh, I changed my mind. No, thank you. So we do actually reject quite a few people. Some of them with the offer to try again, 6 months later, a year later. But a lot of people realize, oh, this isn't just, oh, I had fun at the show. What a fun show. Isn't live theater great? No, it's real engagement with a literary art form and with what they see on stage.
Great.
thank you.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, Russell. Have a great night.
Thanks for having me. Good luck with your meeting tonight.
Thank you.
Bye.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him a 2-minute warning for questions. So I'll let the Chantinets in, let them go for 8 minutes, and then at 2 minutes, then we can start asking questions. Is that okay?
Yep. And Kenna, maybe I'd encourage them probably to be brief as to just what they do after this many years. And I know Laurel's new, but I think what they do could probably be summarized in just a couple minutes generally.
Okay. Right. Okay.
And then, sorry, quick question for probably all of you. But as I was listening to him, so they've written the grant, they're requesting the funds. We can't say, hey, would this be when we kind of deliberate, say, hey, could they tweak this to maybe serve this, population? Like, would they work with at-risk kids in high school, right? And like maybe kind of take them under their wing? Or are they addressing that through the Facebook Live? Like, do we just listen and not ask them like, hey, would you do this? Or
I think we have they'll sign an agreement that actually states officially what they'll do. But we've, with some of our major grants, Hale and Sarah, who get, $300,000 to $500,000, we've actually asked them to do specific things with the grant. So I think that's appropriate to kind of encourage them or guide them in a direction if there's something you feel passionate about, and then we can enter into an agreement that they would do those things.
okay. And then should I wait? Well, I don't even know what they are yet, but maybe discuss that with y'all when we deliberate. Is that a better option? Because I guess I know what you.
Yeah, if it comes up now, if you have a thought now, I think that's something you could bring up for sure.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Laurel.
All right. Are we ready for the Chantinets? Okay. So Joanne, are you with the, you're with the Chantinets, correct?
Yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't figure out how to answer the question.
Okay. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, where am I wonder?
I don't know where your face is, but your name is here.
How can I find my face?
The other Zoom that just popped up.
Here,
Look at where it says start video. There you
there,
go.
I did it. There,
All
okay,
right, so you guys are gonna have about 10 minutes.
okay,
Just, tell us who you are. Most of us know who you are, and then we'll answer questions. So the 2-minute mark, I will let you know you have 2 minutes left.
okay. Also, Songbird should be let in.
She is here. Songbird's here. So,
Oh,
all right.
all right.
Time over to-
There's one more person and her name is Renee Hartson. She might be a little bit late, but if she does join us, let her in, okay?
I will. Yes.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Okay, is it a go now?
Yes, please.
Okay, all right. My name is Jackie Wayland, and I am the care grant advisor for the Chantinets. The Chantinets Women Chorus has been serving the Orem community for the last 74 years. We are a nonprofit organization, and our theme is music through song. I brought in the director of the organization, whose name is Dolores Pedersen. I've been with the Chantinets for 27 years, and there's a lot of us that have been with the Chantinets for over 25 years. Our accompanist, Irene Jenkins, has been with us for 44 years. We've only had a handful of directors. Our current director is Dolores Pedersen. She comes to us with over 40 years of experience in conducting community, church, and school choruses. She received her degree in music education from BYU, and she's a previous member of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir. I'm going to give Dolores Pedersen a few minutes to tell you about our yearly concerts that we serve through music with the Chantinets.
Okay, so my name's Dolores Pedersen, and thanks, Jackie, for the introduction. We basically have 3 main concerts during the year, and then we have some subsidiary concerts where we go out to organizations that wouldn't be able to have other soloists. But anyway, so our first concert of the year, of course, is our Christmas concert, and we try to have a variety of music, traditional, fun, and then more solemn music that for the season that tells of Christ, and also, but we always throw in a lot of fun there too. We do have sometimes soloists from the choir because we have a lot of really good singers in our choir. The second concert is in the spring. We have 2 in the spring. One of them is a sacred concert, and we try to have a special speaker for this. Some of the speakers we've had in the past have been Lloyd Newell, Sherry Dew. Brad Wilcox was supposed to be our special speaker. The 3 days before we got shut down, we were supposed to have a concert before COVID hit. So these are usually very popular concerts. And of course, we do sacred music to enhance the message of the speaker. Then in the spring, we have more light concert. We usually have a lot of show tunes or lighter music, sometimes folk songs. We try to have a theme. Sometimes it's like Jackie said, it's music through song. So sometimes we do lighting the world with song, or the spring into song, or something like that, where we try to, our main focus is to try to have uplifting, family-friendly music that will reach people, that the whole audience that will have a family, also to reach those that are older in our community that can't go out to concerts. We'd like to go to them, and we sometimes have sing-alongs. We mingle with them afterwards. We go to a group every year. It's our favorite concert to go to. Dan Peterson with children that are very severely handicapped, and I've been told by some of the service people there that we're one of the few groups that comes to them during the year, and they just love us to come because we love them. And so we have a love fest when we go there. We mingle with those children and just have a great time. Jackie, what else do you want me to say?
I think that's great. We don't
Okay.
have a real lot of time. I'd like to
Okay.
bring in Joanne Anderson. Joanne
Okay.
Anderson is our acting president this year. She's going to give us a little bit of history of Chantinets, so why she has joined Chantinets and how it's blessed her life and her sisters. I guess that's what she's going to tell.
I guess.
Go ahead,
that's what I'm
Joanne.
gonna say, yes. Okay. Chantinets started as kind of an offshoot at Geneva Steel. They had a group of 45 and it was a mixed chorus back then. And they performed, I don't know exactly what they did, but during World War II. After the war was over, that disbanded, and the director of that group, whose name I forget at the moment, I've got it written down.
Leland Perry.
Leland Perry,
Yeah.
was asked to join a newly formed women's chorus, which was the Chantinets, which he did, and we have been busy entertaining people ever since. I have been with the choir now for 6 years, and I love it. I first started 6 years ago. I had a thyroid surgery and I had a huge goiter in my neck, which they removed, and they told me that they were going to try to be very careful not to leave me hoarse the rest of my life. So in September, my sister said, Joanne, I'm going to go try and join the Chantinets. You want to come with me? So I went and I talked to the director and I explained my problem, and she was very encouraging, and she encouraged me to join and to sing and to be very careful with my voice so that I wouldn't hurt it. And that's how I regained my voice. And like I say, she was extremely helpful to me. So my sister and I both are members, and she's been gone for 2 years in New Zealand, and she's just getting back. And so she's coming back in the choir, and we do have people that take leaves of absences, and then they do join again. We do not require that you audition to be a member. It's just anybody that loves music and loves to sing is welcome. We are a very tight-knit group. We love each other and we have fun everywhere we go. We enjoy serving others through song. Is that what you wanted, Jackie?
Yeah, that's great. Hey, okay, Joanne. I don't see where Renee has jumped on.
I don't see
Yeah.
her.
So I will just tell you that the sources that we use for our care grant money, what we use it for, and we are so thankful for the care grant that we've been awarded the last several years. But the money is used to help us purchase music, costumes, rental of facilities, printing supplies, and the required insurances in order to help our organization run. We also are responsible for paying for a CPA, and so that needs to be paid for through that. We also were able, with some of the money, to pay a special arranger who arranged our piece for the sacred concert that Sherry Dew spoke at called Amazing Grace, which was arranged specially for the Chantinets. Sometimes some of our favorite songs aren't available for the three-piece women's choir, and this is wonderful opportunity to use some of the monies toward that type of thing also. I think we're done. Stephen,
What are some of the plans getting back, kind of coming out of COVID, given especially the demographic of so many of your singers? And I know that's why you haven't been able to perform the way you would have liked to, of course, this last year. But what's kind of the plan looking forward?
Well,
looking forward. Oh, go ahead, Joanne.
I'm just going to say we haven't been able to perform. We perform in homes with older people, and they were all close to us, veterans homes and nursing homes and things like that. Our plan for going forward is to start up again in August with an opening social, and then we will have our first rehearsal in the first Wednesday in September. We're set up for rehearsals with the piano gallery through December already. So that is our hope, is to start up in September again, which is when our normal year begins.
And
This year totally.
Also, can I say something? One of the things we did, because of the COVID things, we have enough space in the piano gallery that we can space ourselves so we're not sitting right next to each other. And if masks are still required of us, we can rehearse somewhat with masks. We did have one rehearsal when they allowed it during COVID, and then they shut us down again. And we spaced ourselves, we wore masks, and we were very careful just to abide by whatever guidelines there were. So because we wanted to be able to get back, and we don't require that those, usually we have a strict attendance code, and we've kind of gone away from that during the COVID, getting back to things. So if people don't feel quite comfortable yet, we've given them some leeway of how many times that they can miss and still be a part of our group, because we just want to get back together and get started as soon as we can. Right, Joanne?
Yes.
Okay.
Does that answer you, Steve?
Yep, great, thank you.
We have about 20 more seconds. You guys were talking, so they don't want to interrupt you.
Oh, I
Any
think
other
we're fine. I
questions?
just wanted to say, right now, if COVID wasn't hitting us, within 2 weeks, we would be performing our final concert of the year, which is our spring concert. So we have missed that also. Our year usually goes from September to June with practicing and all that.
Yep.
All right, any other questions? Well, thanks, ladies, for all you do and all the happiness you bring to the world. We appreciate you.
Oh, to the world. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
One thing too, just to be sure I know, is the CPA audit isn't a requirement. It's only what if you want to not have to do reimbursement. So if you feel like your money's better spent doing other things and you're okay being reimbursed, I just want to make sure you realize it wasn't a requirement.
I do know that.
Okay,
And we
okay.
would much rather get the lump sum. It works out best for us.
Understood. Thank you.
So that's why we have decided to go with the CPA.
Okay.
And then Jackie, my name's Laurel Smith. I'm new, so I probably have questions that everybody else already knows. But for your facilities, is that the facility fees that you requested? Is that for like a rehearsal location or for the concerts themselves?
No, well, it's probably going to change this year. For years, we've been fortunate enough that the piano gallery has let us use their place downstairs is where we've just been there for years, and they're going to start charging us now. And it's usually $80 a time. They will charge us $40 a time just because we've been there with them for so long.
Okay.
As far as paying to go, we don't charge any facilities where we practice. That's been the biggest hang up, is that we've had to practice in chapels and different places that don't accommodate how many of us. We've been up to 63 members before, and we don't fit in chapel pews really well. And so with the new library hall, we're very excited to have that to practice.
And then do y'all also go to the developmental center when you go to Dan Peterson, or have you ever performed up there at this
No,
stage?
I never. We just go into their auditorium. They bring in all of the children, and we do a Christmas concert for
Okay.
about 45 minutes.
So the developmental center is just up the road by the temple.
Oh,
They call the training school. Yeah. Okay. No, I just didn't. They actually have an auditorium there as well, so I wasn't sure if you guys had.
Well, we're always happy to explore more.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah, the possibility.
Okay. Thank you for the information.
we done then?
Any other questions? All right, thanks, ladies. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
You.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, up next, we have the Colonial Heritage Festival. We have about 5 people, so I'll be admitting them. Hello, everyone. How are you tonight?
Great, thank you.
So it's looking like let's take 5 minutes to talk about what you're doing, and then let's take 5 minutes for questions. Does that sound good to everyone?
Sure.
And
Sure.
I'm not sure how to get your present. Do you want to just talk, or do you want to use your
Who's
presentation?
Sharon?
I can chat you the link, or I can share this.
I think you should be able to share, Gov.
I'll just share my screen.
And we'll go quick with it so we
Yep.
can help you guys get back on time.
All right, thank you.
And share. Okay, so we are the Colonial Heritage Festival. I think largely you know us. It's the largest such event in the Western United States. More than 20,000 attendees every year, free admission, 300 volunteers. The mission of our event is to preserve the history, skills, culture of 18th century America through engaging, educating, and entertaining 21st century America. So one of the things that we do every year is a dramatic reading of the Declaration of Independence. We want to get people attached to that document and to our founding. We're doing time to interact both with founders and with kind of regular villagers. So we're trying to get people to engage with the history. Conducting small classes. A new one this year will be a class on calligraphy. So actually people getting a chance to pick up a quill and try their hand at putting ink to paper.
Yes.
So many of our craftsmen, are artisans of the period with, equipment typical of the day. Here, this is a bookbinding exhibit, and she's actually working here on an 18th century, what's called a hieroglyphic Bible. It's a Bible that was made with lots of pictures, not the full text of the Bible, but Bible passages to help teach kids how to read. And so it's not just reproduction, but in some cases, actual artifacts from the 18th century. So, a lot of displaying of family life and other cultural things from the 18th century. A lot of entertainment. Here's a group that comes every year now, Dead Men's Waistcoat. They're just wandering minstrels. They walk through the park playing instruments of the 18th century and singing songs of the period. So much of what we're trying to do is getting people, hands-on and getting people to really engage with the culture. And so that's a big thing that we're doing. Of course, your current public health epidemic and the health epidemics of the 18th century, a lot of commonality between those. And so we'll be featuring some of the issues on smallpox. It's kind of surprising how much similarity there is between the controversy over smallpox inoculation and some of the issues we've had dealing with the pandemic, the current pandemic. Kim, do you want to talk a little bit about what we're doing differently this year with regard to COVID-19?
Yeah, so one of the things about the festival that we love to do is have things be hands-on and very, very engaging to people, but obviously it's going to be a little bit different this year. We still will have small group presentations, and we'll still have to be able to have some hands-on things, but obviously it's going to change with sanitation needs, masks, obviously, if we need to do that, whatever CDC guidelines that we have, we will be following those, whether they are historically accurate or not. But we want to make sure that we keep our patrons that are coming to see us, as well as our participants, safe and COVID-free. And so we'll definitely be doing what we need to do on that. And so the festival will look a little bit different, but it will certainly not change the quality of what people come and see.
Is there anything specific that likely won't be able to be done that has just in the past?
So our children's area has generally been very hands-on and kind of I don't want to say a free-for-all, but very free to come and go as they please. We will probably be going ahead and doing more scheduled events of where families can come and do things that would be, the playing of the games and things, but it will be smaller groups. We'll have them sanitize their hands before they touch anything. We'll be able to clean things off afterwards. So it'll be more controlled, but we still want to be able to have people have that experience. So that's some of the things, roping off some areas where, we can't have big groups congregated in a small area. So it'll still be engaging, but a little bit farther away from the presenters perhaps, or fewer people inside of a presentation area.
Yeah, so we'll pay close attention to what the current guidelines are, right as we're coming up to the event, and we'll adjust accordingly. We did want to give a little report on what we did with the funds that you allocated last year. So that actually went to our annual storage costs, but we did produce about a dozen videos, kind of a virtual festival. So those have been available, and we're hoping to make more use of those in the future.
They're pretty darn good, if I have to say so myself.
Yeah. So just a kind of a few comments that people have given us over the years. We look forward to the Colonial Heritage Festival every year. Strengthens our family love, not only of our country, but of all who gave so much to build it. We can't wait for the festival. A highlight was a conversation with George and Martha Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and Sam Adams. This was simply outstanding. I'll be telling more people to come and see. So that's the festival. You know us. We really are a world-class cultural historic event here in Orem, and we're glad to have the city as a partner.
For sure.
Gov, and I guess team, was last year's money enough to cover all of your storage costs? That's what we were attempting to do.
So you gave us exactly what we asked for. I didn't realize that our storage costs had gone up a little bit, so it ended up being about $200
Okay.
than it actually cost us. But we're not worried about that. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Other questions?
We would love to have you folks go out and search for the videos that we did. If you go to YouTube and search Colonial Heritage Virtual Festival, they'll all come up, and there's some great videos. They're very, very engaging and entertaining and educational.
Any other questions? Well, you made it. You helped us get on track, so thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for your great work. That really is an amazing presentation that you guys put together. It really is. So thank you.
Well,
A lot of people that are very passionate about history and passionate about educating people. So
it really has become the go-to event for Independence Day for the Western United States reenactors. And so being able to help some of those folks come out to the event has really what's made this grow to what it is now. So thank you for your continued support.
Gov and Kim, all of the team and the actors that travel in, as far as you know, everybody was able to stay healthy and get through this pandemic and be ready to come back next year.
No, I don't think we've heard of anyone that's been, several people we know of our people have had COVID, but haven't had serious complications.
Nothing adverse.
there's
Great.
been some financial difficulties with some of our people. So hopefully we'll get most of our people in, but understandably, we may have a few that may have to wait till next year. But I think from what we're hearing, we're going to have a good turnout.
Awesome.
It takes a village.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally, in your case.
Really.
That's the
All
case.
right, well, have a good evening and a good weekend. We appreciate all you do.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, folks. We appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, next we have the Freedom Vehicles. I'll let Vernon in. Hi, Vernon, how are you?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
Good. Do you have anyone else? Just you tonight?
Nope, just me.
All right. So we're saying take about 5 minutes to talk about you, and then about 5 minutes for questions.
Okay, that
All
sounds
right.
perfect. Yep.
So we'll turn the
Is it all right
time
if I
over to you.
is it all right if I share my screen?
Yes.
All right, let's see if I can choose the right one. I believe it is that one. All right, are you seeing the PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, we are.
Okay, great. Oh, let's see. And it's moving between them right there?
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, I'm happy to be able to present to you this evening. You've all probably heard what we do and who we are. We're Freedom Vehicles Association. The name of our organization is actually Tools of Freedom, and we have our mobile portion, which is Freedom Vehicles. And then we're working on building a permanent facility called Victory Park USA. And so I'm excited to tell you a little bit about what the Freedom Vehicles military outpost is this year. But before I did that, I want to just share a little bit more about our organization. This is our mission statement. Our goal is to teach people, primarily youth, about about the sacrifices that have been made for them to be able to have the freedoms that we have, and help them to understand that God had a role in protecting our freedoms and in founding our country. I just wanted to tell you really briefly about what we did with the CARE money in previous years. In 2019 was our last big event. Because of 2020, we didn't have a outpost last year, but we did do a rollout. That event cost $10,000. $1,700 of that was from CARE, and we put it to good use by feeding all the volunteers around 450 meals. We did some marketing, and we maintained all the vehicles, and were able to serve about 40,000 residents of the city. So this year we're asking for $3,000. How we break that down is through project materials. What we would like to do is a little bit different than what we have done before because of COVID. Obviously in the past, we have done a boot camp, along with putting on display 30,000 authentic military artifacts and 50 vehicles. Coupled with that, we have had reenactors or actors present themselves as if they were soldiers from different eras, starting from World War I to current. So World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, and the Cold War. So this year, what we want to do is, because we're not able to do the boot camp, we're going to dress up each vehicle in a way that is a lot more battlefield ready than we have in the past, so that people will be able to see all of the equipment in the vehicle as if it was ready to go into battle. And then, coupled with the vehicle, and this is the most important part, we want to highlight veteran stories. And the veteran stories are going to be from veterans of character. We're going to be using some of the Saints at War project, which I'll talk about in a second. But so to print those posters is $500. The veterans, to do the research and get that all ready, we anticipate that there's some expenses in finding those stories, and so that's $500. Operating expenses, this is primarily for a 1940s themed dance with a band and instructors to teach people how to dance. So hopefully, in the past 2 years, we've experimented with dances, or the past 3 years, and we've had a really good turnout. This year, we wanted to have instructors to teach people how to dance, particularly in the 40s themed type dances. And then the marketing, tell people that we're doing it via signs and canvas signs and things. And then finally, operations and maintenance, which is $500. So the objective is to build strong character for all the people that come to the event. These signs that we want to couple the vehicles and the equipment with people of good character. We're going to use the Saints of War project, and these are just a couple of snapshots out of some of the Saints of War books. What we're doing is we're finding local soldiers, veterans, that we can tell their stories, and we'll be doing a write-up. There'll be a poster and potentially a mannequin in some cases, or an actual person that is reenacting that particular individual. So if we don't have a reenactor for that particular individual, and we do have a mannequin, we'll have a sign that teaches the person about the vehicle, about their experience, and we'll write it in a way to help people understand and see what they're seeing in the context of that particular person and their experiences. So anyway, that's kind of what we're trying to do this year, and that's about it. So I'm ready for questions.
We have about 4.5 minutes for questions.
I've got a question, Kenna. So Vernon, in the past, you've asked for more money than the 1,700 last year and the 3,000. So what was the reason for that?
Great question. In the past, we've tried to use the money to build specific parts of the event. So one year we built towers, and we still have those towers. They haven't worn out. We've taken good care of them. One year, we bought a sound system with the funds one year, and we still have the sound system. We have anyway. So this year, we're not needing to buy or build lots of different types of things to help the event be successful. And so we're only asking for the amount of money that we feel that we need in order to make it a successful event. And so that's why the less money.
Okay, and I appreciate your willingness to bring your vehicles, and it's a great event, and I think everybody enjoys it. So thank you.
Thank you.
This is Danae. I have a question.
Sure,
are you
sure.
saying saints, like SAINTS, saints of
Yes.
war?
Yes.
So I'm just wondering how you're making that. Are you trying to make that very inclusive of all people?
That will be all. These are people of character. The Saints and Soldiers Project, or the Saints at War Project, is an example of people that have strong character that were in conflicts. We aren't going to specifically feature any one denomination or religion, but we do want people to understand that people of character are important to be able to protect our freedoms. John Basilone is an example. He was a Catholic, and we may be featuring him. We also have some local Medal of Honor winners that we may feature. So anyway, we're working on finding all of the different individuals that we'll feature, but not from any particular religion or anything like that. It's just an example.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
2 more minutes for questions. Any other questions?
I have a quick comment. Your parade that you did last year was awesome.
Thanks.
You know, at a time when there was nothing going on, that was really fun to be able to go find a place along the route that you were driving in all of your vehicles, and at least feel like in some small way we were having a little bit of normalcy in a really crazy year. And we were able to grab my next door neighbor, who's a Vietnam veteran, and he hadn't heard about it, and he was moved to tears to see those vehicles and just to be able to take part in that. So thank you for bringing some light and hope in a really dark time.
Thank you so much. That's awesome to hear that you enjoyed it.
Yep, very much.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, Vernon. Appreciate you being with us tonight.
Yep.
Have a good weekend.
Hey, thank you so much. Have a great day.
Next up, we have the Garden Valley Pipe Band. We have Scott Gilbert. So I'll let him in right now. Hi, Scott. Thank you for being patient. Can you hear us, Scott? We can't hear you. Can you hear us? Raise your hand if you can hear us. Can you hear us, Scott? No.
Dang. Kenna, maybe is Aubrey next?
Yeah, Aubrey's next.
Maybe let's bring her in and give Scott a few minutes, even if Scott stays in and just
Okay.
observes.
All right. So next up, we have Grassroots Shakespeare Company. We have Aubrey Wilde. Aubrey.
Hello.
Hi. We're gonna Scott was having some issues, so we're gonna have you go before him.
Oh, okay.
So thank you for joining us tonight. We'll take about 5 minutes to talk about who you are, and then about 5 minutes for questions. Does that sound good?
All right. I can do it in less.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Aubrey.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I am Aubrey Wilde from the Grassroots Shakespeare Company. I am the managing director of the company. So obviously COVID has kind of been a weird year for us in theater, but we've done a lot of fun online projects, branched out in new ways of doing theater that we probably really wouldn't have looked into before this. So it's been a really eye-opening experience. But for 2021, 2022, we're really trying to get back into doing live theater, back to our school and back into our parks. So for our grant submission, we have an educational tour program that has really started to take off. And then of course, COVID. So last year we had a solid 10 Orem schools booked and at least 5 outside of Orem. And so I think that we're totally going to hit that out of the ballpark this upcoming year, because we already have people sending us emails when our next show is and how we can book for educational tours. So that's what we use half of the grant funds for. So I'm super excited about that. I think that we can definitely get into more than 10 Orem schools. That's kind of been the goal in the past, but I think 15, 20 is going to be easily attainable in 2022.
Hey, Aubrey, one quick question. We've also historically funded a little bit for the Utah Shakespeare Festival. Do you guys ever cross paths during your educational tours? They do similar things?
We haven't crossed paths, but that could be an interesting thing, or even an interesting collaboration with them. We haven't looked into that because they are so far away and then they travel up to do the shows.
Okay.
But that's a really interesting thing. I should probably get in touch with Mark.
Yeah, Michael Bear.
Oh yeah, okay, Mike.
Yeah.
So that could be a really cool opportunity, because I know I've seen a couple of their shows when I was a student at UVU. They came to perform there as well. And then the other half of the grant funds we use for our summer tour program, which will be abridged this summer. But next summer, we're just going to be right back in the parks. I'm knock on wood, please. But that's a fun one because it's free to the community. We do ask for donations at the end, but we do have a great turnout from our audiences here in Orem. And we do tour from Ogden to Moab during the summer. So that's a really, really fun summer tour. So the shows on the slot are Hamlet for the schools. And we normally go elementary, junior high, and high school because someone's always studying Shakespeare. And I remember it was like 5th grade in elementary school, 9th grade, and then 11th grade. So there's always someone studying a play. And then our summer tour next year will be As You Like It and Julius Caesar. And then we normally bring back Hamlet for the end and do a big hurrah. 3 shows in one night. Crazy, crazy fun show. So that's kind of our plan and kind of what we've been doing this past year. Yeah, what questions do you have? And if you want me to talk a little bit more about pandemic.
Aubrey, maybe one more question, sorry, and then I, of course, want the commission their opportunity. So you said probably have the opportunity to get into about 10 schools, but you think you could grow that to 15 to 20. Have you not had challenges getting into schools? Have they always been, anyways, I'm just curious about the confidence in being able to grow into that many schools.
Yes. So it is a little bit of a challenge because saying, hello, this is a free show funded by the Orem Care Grant. All you need to do is set up a time. It is a little bit of a hassle sometimes to get on the schedule, but we were easily able to do that in 2020 before the tour was canceled on the first day of the performance. So I really think that because opening it up to all 3 levels of education, the pandemic time has also allowed us to work on our educational materials. And so in 2022, we'll be presenting it with a class packet, with learning materials in addition to the show, so that the teachers are well equipped for conversations after even after we leave. We've given them information to teach their students.
Great.
Yeah, so I'm excited. The educational tour is really, really fun, and the students all love it, and they just pile them into that assembly hall or the cafeteria auditorium combo thing. So it's been really fun.
So on your summer tour, how many of them are done in Orem?
So we normally have at least 5, and we hop around, between north and south and middle. But because we are asking for more money this time, and because of how we just are like yearning to do shows, I think we're definitely going to have more. We've only ever done Monday, Friday, Saturdays in the summer, but we're looking into adding more shows throughout the week. So that's going to give more Orem residents an opportunity, if they can't come on the weekends, to come through the weekdays as well.
Other questions or want to share more information? You have a little under 5 minutes.
Do you want me to talk a little bit about what we've been doing this past year since we weren't meeting live?
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Okay. So we moved everything online. We started doing these little mini series that we did, sonnet series, where we would have a bunch of actors get together, pick out their favorite sonnet, and do that through film. We did a monologue series. We were able to even have our group of musicians that we have tour with us. They took their own series and they composed music to the songs and sonnets from various plays. So that was a really fun one because, there's not a lot of history about what tunes and stuff were played to specific songs. And so they had some fun creative license to create whatever they would like. We also went online via the Switch and video games, and we did 2 performances through Animal Crossing, which is a video game. And so we were able to stage those shows and stream it with online through Twitch. And so that was a really fun one because we got so many people just watching from their computers and everything. And these cute little Animal Crossing characters, going around doing Macbeth and A Midsummer Night's Dream, and they still had costume changes. We still had doubling up characters. That was a really, really fun experience. And people were like, I've never seen a video game play. We're like, neither have we, but we're doing it. And I talked a little bit about our educational tour. Hold on, I'm gonna tilt my blinds for a second. Okay, it's giving me like a light mustache. We've expanded our educational program. So now we have packets ready. We worked with Orem Library doing Macbeth in 2020. And since we weren't able to perform for the library for Orem residents, they helped us film it. And so we have that as a package as well, the recording of it and the class materials and everything. So I'm really excited about being able to present teachers with a lesson plan, because that's just one less thing that they have to worry about. They don't have to be Shakespeare scholars to teach this. And it's really, really fun to have it in hand with a play and educational stuff. And that's just something that we haven't been able to do because we just didn't really have time, resources, but we had all the time in the world this year. So we were really cooking on some of those other projects.
That would be fun to watch a game. I'm sure my nephew would have loved that on a game, watching that.
It was really fun. It was really fun. And they had their props still, And so just these cute little tiny characters, and you could change their emotions through Animal Crossing. And so they would pop up with like, little red furrowed brows, or they would have stars and hearts when they were in love. Like you had to know how to play the game to be able to do the play. So people used their time wisely in the beginning of the pandemic. So we put it to good use last August for that show.
Oh, fun. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you, Aubrey. We appreciate you being with us tonight. Have a good weekend.
Yes, thank you. We've been a company for going on 11 years now. So Orem is our home and we love it. And we're just growing and we're here to stay. So we love you guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Aubrey.
you.
For everything.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Bye.
We'll try Scott again. Here we go. Can you hear us now, Scott?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Awesome. Well, great.
Fantastic.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
but
no problem.
Thank you for waiting. So we'll, tell us a little bit about your organization and the grant for about 5 minutes, and answer questions for about 5 minutes, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be great. I've
All
got
right.
a couple of slides I'd be happy to show you.
And you can present those as well.
Fantastic. Let me go ahead and pull this up. You able to see my screen okay? All right, let me tell you a little bit about us. We're the Garden Valley Pipe Band. My name is Scott Gilbert. We're a 501c3. We were founded in 2015. Our goal is to promote, inspire, perform, and educate. It's a nice little acronym, PIPE. Anyone who's interested in learning to play the bagpipes and drums. And the way that we do it is offering free bagpipe and drum classes, concerts, and performances, and we contribute to the vibrant cultural arts in Orem. However, last year was exceedingly difficult. We were not able to hold our in-person classes due to COVID. We have been holding our band practices, and we've been doing some limited one-on-one trainings, but we're planning really to gear up in the fall if everything's going according to schedule. And I'm sure you're hearing that a lot tonight. But there's some cool things that happen with our music program. There's a lot of one-on-one mentoring of experienced musicians with new students. And it's really a great way to, bring music to the community. The grant has provided us, and we're anticipating in the future, the grant will help provide for our class curriculum. We've developed and published a free book. It's about 65 pages. You can find it online on our website. It includes curriculum, instruction, and music. Like I mentioned, we also do community concerts, both free and for charge. And then we're doing a unique thing with the grant of purchasing equipment to loan to students until a student can purchase their own instrument. So for example, last year we bought a snare drum, and then when the student was able to purchase their own, we got the snare drum back, and we'll use it with the band as new students come in. So it's just a way to help them out. And one of the other things the grant was able to provide us last year is we improved our web presence. So I helped build a new website for the band, and we've done search engine optimization and some marketing, and the grant helps with operations like buying insurance. So not so fun as some of the other things that we can do, but it's important to get it up and going. I wanted to show this briefly. This is one of our success stories. Jeff and Lizzie, they both live in Orem. They came to our classes, free classes, a couple of years ago, and they learned how to play the bagpipes together. And then Jeff became our pipe major. Due to COVID last year, he wasn't able to attend any of our band practices, but it's really cool to see how it all kind of comes full circle, from learning an instrument to performing and playing, and then helping other people learn how to play. So to give you a little perspective on a good year, We've estimated we can impact about 10,000 spectators. About 5,000 of those are Orem residents. On a bad year, those numbers are not quite as positive, but we have 30 active band members. It's a multi-generational band, and about 25% of the band are Orem residents. And then in a good year, we teach approximately 40 students. Last year, the numbers were quite a bit lower, but about 20% of the students are Orem residents. And then about 4 to 8 students graduate, like Jeff and Lizzie, and they join the band. So that's an option, not required, but if someone does want to continue playing and learning, it's cool. I wanted to show this picture briefly. This is some of our students, and I think it speaks for themselves. You can look at their faces. They were excited to go to Moab for a competition. They all did great, and they were awarded good prizes for their competition and their performance that they did. So where can you hear us? Now, if you look closely at this picture on the right, it's on Center Street next to Smith's. This was the Orem Summerfest parade, and so you could hopefully watch this year. We're going to try to get in the parade this year and participate. But you can hear us in graduation ceremonies, patriotic memorial services. We have played at the Sarah, and then we have performed at Scottish festivals and Highland Games. Unfortunately, this year, a lot of the Highland Games have been canceled. I think the closest game that we're going to go to is in July in Payson. So if you're interested in Scottish festivals, this is your chance to come local and hear us along with other bands. That is essentially all that I had in terms of the presentation. So I'd like to open it up for questions at this point.
I have one, Scott.
Yeah.
I've heard you present the last couple years, and it seems like last year it was for curriculum development and for purchasing some of the reads and things like that. Now that the curriculum's made, are you just replacing old equipment, or what's kind of the difference from year to year?
Yeah, a lot of it's maintenance on equipment. You brought up a good point. The curriculum is completed, so we don't need to spend any more effort on that. We do need to do marketing, so there is continual, effort to get the name of the band out there. We did a great thing. We added a new domain to our website. So instead of typing out the longest website ever, gardenvalleypipeband.org, you can now type gvpb.org to get out to the website.
Thanks.
Yeah. Oops.
Any other questions for Scott?
I'll throw this little plug in as well. If anyone's interested in listening to podcasts, one of our band members, James Moyer, has created a podcast series called Droning On, like the bagpipe drone. And you can go listen to it. It's for free. It's on Spotify and iTunes and other places. And he's interviewed members of our band. How did they get started and what are they doing? And he's also starting to interview the larger bagpipe community here in Utah, bagpipes and drummers. So that's kind of a fun little addition that he's done.
All right, any other questions? Well, thanks, Scott. You play beautiful music.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a good night and a good weekend.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. So we have about 4 more presenters. We have right now a scheduled break. Do we want to break or do we want to just keep going?
I'm good to keep going, but that's just me.
Let's keep going.
Keep going?
Yep.
All right. So we next on our list is another Shakespeare. It's the Utah Shakespearean Festival. We have Michael Barr from there, and so we'll let him in. Hi, Michael. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good. Thanks for joining us. So just spend about 5 minutes telling us about your grant and your organization, and about 5 minutes for questions.
Absolutely. You know, this means you guys didn't get your break, did you? Did you have a break at all?
They decided against it, so
I've been in
back
that
on schedule.
I have been in that position before. Fantastic. Do you mind if I share a PowerPoint here? And I promise this will actually make us go quicker. Hang on just a minute. It'll come. I promise you it will. And if not, I'll speak very, very quickly. Can you see that?
No.
Let me get back out of that. And is there, I'm going to share my screen. Is it possible to share my screen? Yes?
You should be able to.
Okay, fantastic.
There you go.
Got it. And it should be coming up right now. There it is. You got it? See it?
Yes, I can see you.
Okay, fantastic. I recognize many of your faces, so welcome. Hello again. It's good to see you during this strange COVID time. Some of you are new, and so forgive me if I'm going to be speaking as if you know a little bit about us. I'm going to drive very quickly through this. This is a shot actually from a performance that we did in Orem about 3 years ago. You can see photo by the Daily Herald. Who are we? We're the Utah Shakespeare Festival. So we're down south, but we actually tour Utah, Nevada, Arizona, Wyoming, Idaho, Colorado, etc. 75-minute production of Shakespeare, a 15-minute talkback after that, and 3 workshops with Shakespeare text, stage combat, and improvisation. I'm going to keep my mouth shut and let you watch this. Everything you wanted to know about it in 30 seconds. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. That tells you a little bit about that. So with 6 states we cover, 25,000 students, 44% of which receive free and reduced lunch, 22% of the shows are produced free of charge. And we have great sponsors that give that. I'm going to skip past that slide. Quick history of our outreach with Orem. We have a very strong relationship with the city of Orem. I myself was born and went to a number of elementary schools in the area. I went to Mountain View and Orem. Love Jerry Elison. He was my teacher. I've got a strong connection there. We actually performed The Tempest in 2018 at Timpanogos High School, where I had great connection with Agnes Broberg as well, who's no longer there. Northridge Elementary, Orem Elementary. Orem 2019, we returned and we did Orem Elementary and had a great time there as well. We had a wonderful year in the beginning of 2020 with the show Every Brilliant Thing. And I don't know if you know about that, but it is a one-person show that we toured throughout the state of Utah to combat suicide and depression and how to handle suicide and depression. Within the city of Orem, we served 2,629 students, but there were 40,000 students around the state of Utah that we served with that tour. We went to Timpanogos High School, we went to Orem High School, we went to Mountain View High School. I hope you had a chance to see it there. And then little did we know, we were preparing for Romeo and Juliet, wonderful show about love and suicide. Perfect compliment to this show. We took this out, and in March 17th, we were shut down, as the rest of the world was, and we didn't get a chance to get in and take it there. So it was canceled due to COVID. This last year, we did have a company here that we COVID protected, had them in masks, tests, etc. And we created a virtual tour that we provided free to schools, etc. So many schools in Orem took advantage of that from a virtual situation. But what does that take us now to? It takes us to Much Ado About Nothing, which we're doing next year. And we're so ready, like the rest of the world is, to get up and have a nice little fun, lively show, bring back that joy with Much Ado About Nothing. So our plan, again, Orem High, Mountain View, Timpanogos, invitation to all Orem and elementary schools to attend during the school day, and public performances in the evenings. That's all described as you see in the grant itself. We're essentially looking for, and I'm going to pop out of this, I'm going to stop my share, and so I can look you in your eyes. That's essentially what we're hoping to do again this year, and we're looking forward to it. We're asking for just a simple $4,000. That allows us, that pays a portion of the actors' travel and also their lodging while they're there within the Utah Valley. The rest of the costs for the tour are taken care of by our other sponsors and our other funders. I'm being really fast to get you back on schedule and make sure you have enough time to share a burrito or whatever you're eating. What other questions do you have about either the Shakespeare in the Schools tour or about the festival or about anything?
So you said that you will send an invite to all elementary schools. Based on your past, how many do you project will take you up on that offer?
Perfect. That's a great question. So and I'll use the Macbeth year as an example. The timing of the Macbeth tour was really hard. We started with Lake Ridge, and Lake Ridge said, "Oh, sorry, we're in testing. We can't." I then called my friends at Orem High and Orem Junior, and they weren't able to do it. And we were able to get into Orem Elementary. And that sometimes happens where they say we're not available. We start these initial calls. We assume that we'll be in Orem the last weeks of March and the beginning of April is when we'll be there. And so our hope is that we can bed down in one of the high schools and invite the elementary schools to come in this way. But we are willing, and as you saw how mobile we are, we're willing to go out to elementary schools too as well. I also think Much Ado About Nothing will resonate stronger with an elementary school crowd. That's what we found with Tempest and Midsummer as opposed to a Julius Caesar. And so we are prepared, and I forget what we wrote up in the grant itself, but we are prepared to do 3 to 4 days in Orem, which would allow us to bed down in each of the high schools and to freely go to each of the elementary schools that are there. That's a lot of elementary schools. Cherry Hill, Westmore, and we prefer, and our other sponsors prefer, to go to areas that are middle income or lower income. So that side of town would be our preference. I'm primarily thinking about the west side of State Street is where we're looking, but we're willing to go to all of them. I know I danced around multiply, but yes, we've got relationships with 3 elementary schools that we've connected to in the past. We have relationships with all of the high schools because of the Shakespeare competition and Every Brilliant Thing tour. And our goal is to reach as many elementary schools as would have us. But I'm assuming because we're there for 3 to 4 days, that it would be 3 to 4 elementaries that we'd be able to service. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you.
And does that sound, do you understand why that would be the number that we would serve within that amount of time?
Just, you might already be aware, but I know the school districts in Orem,
Yeah.
that first week in April is always spring break.
Yeah. The tour, we generally start the last week of January and we run till April 23rd. We do Vegas and Nevada and Arizona when it's snowing. And then we return to Utah the first part of March and are generally in Utah from March until the end of April. And as you know, nothing's too far away. In other words, if we find that it doesn't work in that time, it's easy for us to, what we generally do is put them in a place. We actually had a Airbnb that was just in the Pleasant Grove area, which allowed us to hop on I-15 and kind of bounce around to a number of different areas. And I'm assuming it will be the same story that way. So basically end of March and into April. But the 3 high schools and 4 elementary schools is our goal.
Michael, one other question. So do y'all go to Spectrum Academy? I'm aware that that's in the Pleasant Grove area, but a lot of Orem residents do attend.
Yeah, we do. And just so you know, I'll tell you a little bit about how our funding, again, we're only, this particular Orem Cares grant, we're only asking for the 4,000 for there, but we are funded through an organization called POPS, the Utah State Office of Education, Professional Outreach Performances in the Schools. And they help fund the programming so that we can offer it for free to schools and that. And that also allows us to go to charter schools. I am aware of Spectrum because Spectrum has done some things. This grant would only serve Orem schools, but if you're interested through Spectrum, or there's a number of other charter schools that are in the area, all you need to do is contact us and say, hey, we're interested in you coming. For example, you might be aware of John Hancock. The John Hancock School, which uses Pleasant Grove High School as their auditorium, and they bring in a number of charter schools during that time. And we provide free performances with them as well. And but Orem Cares money would not be used to do the Spectrum stuff, but POPS money could be associated with that. And I just want to get the words out about, because it's a really wonderful program, and just letting people know that, and charters, homeschools, public schools are serviced by that. Private schools, we do ask, because the funding's different, that there is a fee, a very modest fee that's charged for that.
Wonderful, thank you.
Right, well, we're out of time. Any other questions?
Quick and fast, and I hope you have a wonderful evening. Your job is not easy. I am grateful for everything that you do, and you saved me a trip. I didn't have to drive up at this time, which means I didn't get to see, family or anything like that. But have a great time, and we hope to see you here this summer. We're open this summer. Okay.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. So we had a little switch tonight. We moved Roots of Freedom to May 13th, and we brought on the Brazilian Festival. So they're on tap. So we'll go and turn the time over to them. Hi, can you hear us? Matilda, can you hear us? I wonder if she stepped away from it.
Here.
Are you here?
I am.
Oh, great. Well, we're ready for you.
Okay, wonderful.
So just take about 5 minutes and talk about your grant and your organization, and about 5 minutes for questions. So,
okay, so let's go. 5 minutes will be. Timer here. Okay, just a second. Make sure that I have my 5 minutes. Okay, so my name is Matilde Wozniak. I'm with with Viva Brazil Cultural Center. Oopsie, where do I go? Here? Yes. Viva Brazil Cultural Center. We've been doing the Brazilian Festival for 17 years. Can you hear me good? For 17 years. And we started at the Utah Valley. We started Thanksgiving Point 17 years ago. And then the second year, we went to Utah Valley University. And then for the last 11 years, we were in Salt Lake City, either at the Gateway Mall or the Gallivan Center. So 3 years ago, we decided to return to Utah Valley. So we started doing the event in Orem at the University Mall, University Place. Our main sponsor is Tucanos Brazilian Grill. And we also had Utah Valley Magazine. That was one of the reasons we came back. We went to Orem. We had, better sponsors in Utah Valley, and they were very excited for us to try our return to Orem. And so we had 2 years in the Orem Mall. It was great. The community loved it, the new venue, and it was very successful. So last year, we couldn't have the festival in person, so we had a online event. with singers, and it was nice. It was different. And we also had a little retrospective of the festival for the last 16 years. So we had a video for that too. It's on YouTube. I can send it to you guys later. It was very nice. A lot of participation from the community. And it was a way we found to have a presence in 2020. So we wouldn't skip that year. And also something was done for the festival for 2020. And it was very nice. So we gather around 8 to 10,000 people in the festival. I'm just going to show some pictures. We have a very growing Brazilian community. So each year in the event, we see the different people that is coming to the event. So it's a big, nice crowd. It's super fun. We love it. This is from Orem. This is from the first year in Orem. So our main sponsors are Tucanos Brazilian Grill, the Arts and Museums from the state. We have Zoo Arts and Parks from from the Salt Lake City area, and we are doing another event in Orem this year in June. We're doing like a small event because what happened, our main goal as a nonprofit, as Viva Brazil, is to motivate the arts groups, the performers, so they know we're going to be having some Brazilian events going on. They get excited to rehearsal, to get together, to show the culture. So we're doing this extra event in June. So they have another venue. They've been not having anything to do in the last year and a half, kind of. And so we're excited for that too. But we're really excited for the Brazilian Festival. So we have people from all ages. Dona Silvia is 80 years old, and she's been with us for 17 years. She sews all the costumes for the festival and things like that. And yes, it's a super fun event. Okay, so this is like all that we do. Okay, this is my family. Let's say hi, my boys. They've been coming with us since they were little. What else? Okay, so this year with the COVID and everything, we were a little bit concerned about funding for the event. But I mean, we are doing the festival no matter what, right? Depending on the conditions with the pandemic too, we just hoping that everything's going to be super good until then. But then we are really working on our local artists this year with the dance groups and everybody. So we keep telling them, keep practicing, keep rehearsing. We might be having a different event, but we are having one. And we are going to concentrate on our local artists, because when we bring people from out of state, we have to spend money with airplanes and hotels. And we already know that this year our funding is going to be a little limited, because two things. For the fundraisers, we don't know how the community will be with buying t-shirts and stuff like that. And for the businesses, they have some of them have losses or not. So we are operating with a smaller budget. And that's pretty much. Now if you guys have questions.
How many shows do you normally do in Orem? Or will you do in Orem?
How many events?
Yes.
We've been doing one. But this year in June, we'll be having a smaller one. It's kind of a fundraising event. It's gonna be for a small crowd, but we are concentrating here in the Utah Brazilian Festival. And also our Brazilian community is growing a lot in Utah County. So they are excited for, another venue, especially my performers, so they have another place that they can play. Because we cannot invite everybody to the Brazilian Festival. So when we have a smaller event, we invite other groups.
Other questions?
Well, I have a quick question for you. Thank you for what you're doing. My daughter actually taught Portuguese immersion at Lakeview Elementary for a few years. And boy, you guys know how to have a party.
We do.
How to have fun. We've been having some talks about the possibility of doing a cultural activity, kind of celebrating diversity in Orem. And we'd love to talk with you more about the possibility of your group perhaps participating in that, giving those in attendance, if we had a show, giving those in attendance a taste of Brazilian culture, dance, costume, music, and so on. Is that something that you feel like you would be interested in doing if we were able to pull that that celebration together?
Oh, yes, 100%. You can count on us.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? All right, well, thank you very much. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
being with us tonight, and have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Nice to see you all.
All right, next we have the Orem Chorale. Del Morris will be joining us. Hi, Del.
Hello,
How are you tonight?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Are you ready to present?
I'm ready.
All right.
I sent over, Stephen, I sent over a PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, you know what? I hadn't seen it. Do you have it right there and could share your screen, or I can pull it up?
I don't have it right here. I emailed it to you about a half an hour ago.
Okay, give me just a second.
So it's fairly new. Thank
Okay,
you.
I got it. You just tell me when to advance, Dale.
All right, perfect. So that's just the landing slide. Let me pull up my there we go. All right, next slide. On behalf of the Orem Chorale, thank you for having me here today. I'm Del Morris, president of the Orem Chorale. We're very grateful for your care grant support in this and previous years. Next slide. It says who we are at the top, is that correct?
Yep.
We are a group of people from the community that love to sing and share our talent with others. We've been singing since 2010. We currently have 54 members and 14 board members, 11 of which are volunteer positions. Our music director, assistant director, and accompanist are paid positions. Our rehearsals are held on Thursday evenings at Orem High School. Next slide.
Got it.
The mission of the Orem Chorale is to inspire, uplift, and unite our community through beautiful music. Those who join our choir want to share their musical talents with others and continue improving their musical skills. Through challenging repertoire and a wide range of musical styles, we continually improve our own musicianship and vocal abilities. Our repertoire includes spirituals, folk songs, sacred music, patriotic, classical works, and many others, including works from Broadway and popular genres. We believe we will best serve our community by sharing a heightened musical experience to be enjoyable and inspiring to all. Next slide.
Got it.
The COVID-19 pandemic and social distancing have brought unique challenges to choirs during the past year. In our 2021 season, we held 6 live rehearsals and 22 virtual rehearsals, all broadcast on Facebook Live and YouTube, 6 virtual discussion groups, and 6 virtual board meetings. Our only concert of the season will be held in 1 week at the new Orem Library Hall. 5 other concerts this season were postponed due to social distancing. We estimate our attendance at our performances this season will only be about 100 people, but usually we're able to have audiences of up to 2,000. Next slide. Despite the pandemic restrictions, we feel we've had some success this year by using new opportunities to share our music. We strictly followed all local health guidelines, and when it became apparent that we wouldn't be able to meet in person, we began broadcasting virtual rehearsals for anyone to participate in. We asked members to find a quiet room at home, put their headphones on, and sing like no one was watching. We worked on 20 different songs during the year, 8 of which we will perform next week at our only concert this year. Although we've had few performances, We are grateful to the Orem Library Hall for letting us share our talents with Orem residents next week. Next slide. We are very grateful to have very talented professional directors and accompanists who keep us engaged, enthused, choose beautiful music for us, and have the skills to help us improve our musical talents. These are the paid positions. Next slide. Our director is Russell Oliphant. Our assistant director is Ashley Gunnell, and our accompanist is Kaylee Byers. By providing them small salaries, we are led by degreed professionals, and their combined yearly salaries total about $6,750. Next slide. We rent the choir room at Orem High School for our rehearsal space and often perform in the auditorium there. Our costs, the rental fees for the rehearsal space and the performances total about $1,875 this year. Other costs include payroll taxes and liability insurance. Sometimes we incur publicity and advertising fees, which can vary. Nearly all the money that we spend goes directly back into our community. The total yearly budget of the choir is about $12,000. Next slide. Last year, we received a total of $4,999 from the CARE grant. Our directors and accompany salaries are paid directly out of the CARE grant fund. The remainder of their salaries and other expenses are covered by member dues. Because the Orem CARE grant covers most of the professional salaries, we are able to offer our concerts free to the community and to keep our member dues reasonable. Next slide. We represent the city of Orem. Our rehearsals and performances are held in Orem. 90% of our members are Orem residents. About 10% of our members are from other communities around Orem because no other community around us offers what we do. Next slide. We provide a place for community members to continue to develop their musical talents, and we have a wide range in ages of our members, and members are not required to audition, memorize, or purchase music. It's a wonderful place for people to share their talents in a completely non-stressful atmosphere. Next slide. We serve the Orem community. All our concerts are free. We sing a variety of music that appeals to the general population of Orem. We are expanding our audience by performing at local care centers and participating in community events. Next slide. We provide a sense of identity and community for the city of Orem. We represent Orem in performing at city festivals, holidays, and special events. We serve Orem residents by providing an enjoyable, enriching musical experience, and we look forward to participating in Orem's Summerfest celebration and performing at the new Orem Library Hall. Next slide. Our goal is to encourage community unity through singing and share high quality choral music with the Orem community. The Orem Chorale is not just our choir. It belongs to the whole Orem community and it benefits us all. It is my choir, your choir, and it is our choir because it's Orem's choir. We request that you continue to support your own community choir, the Orem Chorale, through your generous and very much appreciated CARE grant. Next slide. Thank you, and please feel free to ask any questions.
We have about 4 minutes for questions.
How much are your dues for your members?
Our dues for regular members are $20 a month. I'm sorry, yes, $20 a month. That allows us to have a total of about $12,000 to spend during the year. We have 5 or 6 members who we consider to be on scholarship. They've requested to not be able to pay the dues, and we're completely happy to do that for people. We want them to come and participate. If the dues are financial hardship for them, then we will waive the fees so that they can still participate.
Do you have your members audition?
We don't.
Okay.
We don't have any audition. Our chorale is
like me.
Absolutely. We considered for time having auditions, and the whole point of this choir is for people that still love to sing to come and be able to do it. So we don't want it to be stressful. And so we decided to have non-auditions. In fact, if we have one weakness in our choir, it's that we need to do better publicity. I think there's a huge number of Orem residents who used to sing in the choir when they were in high school or college, and they don't know that they have a chorale opportunity. And I think we could easily have 200 more people come and sing with us, and the chorale would be even better. So one of my goals this year is, particularly over the summer, as the social distancing relaxes and people are maybe going to be looking for something social to come out and do, man, I would love for them to know that starting in September, we're going to start our new season and there will be a choir for them to come and participate in. So anybody can come.
All right, any other questions? Well, thank you, Del. We appreciate all that you do in the community.
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate your service. Bye now.
Bye. So our next presenter is from a new organization, and maybe it's Ngami Africa Cultural Center, something like that. And we have Leslie Hatfield that we'll be letting in, and she'll have 15 minutes to present because she's a new care recipient. So does anyone want to break before we let her in? Everyone good? Okay. Hi, Leslie. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. Well, welcome to our Care Commission and our presentations tonight. We're happy to have you. You will have 15 minutes to present and answer questions. So maybe 10 minutes to present and 5 minutes for questions, or however you want to do that. I don't know if you have a presentation you're going to share, if you could present that, or you can just talk, whatever you'd like to do. So we'll just turn the time over to you.
Okay, thank you. I do not have a presentation to share my screen with. Is there someone else in the waiting room named Vimbai Tembo? Do you see her?
Nobody else right now, but we'll watch for anybody else that comes up. You're the last one, so anybody that shows up, we'll bring in.
She came in like probably 20 minutes ago for a minute, I noticed.
Right.
And then she went out. So I'll
She was
watch
going-
for her.
Okay, thank you. She was going to try to make it, but she had a conflict, and so it seemed like she probably had to leave then before she could make it. So, well, my name is Leslie Hadfield. I'm a professor of African history at BYU, and I am involved in the Ngoma ya Africa Cultural Center nonprofit because I've been on the board for some time, and then I've also been a dancer, a performer. And so I think I probably was on the board from 2016. And I also wear the other hat of being the grant writer. So I'm happy to make or answer more of your questions about Ngoma ya Africa. So you may have read in our materials that Ngoma ya Africa was founded by Joanne Nsabimana and another Deidre Green. They got together. Joanne had actually started a dance and drumming group in previous years, but then had moved. And she started it because she wanted to create a community for Africans in the area when she first moved here. And she lives in Orem, and we've been doing many things in Orem. There were fewer Africans, and now there are many more people who've come to Utah County to go to school at BYU or UVU, and others who have relocated to Utah County from Salt Lake, where they were relocated as refugees. So there's a growing African population, and one of the ways that Joanne she found Joanne is a Rwandan refugee. Her family fled Rwanda in 1994 when the genocide broke out. In fact, her father was killed in the plane with President Habyarimana, which sparked the genocide. And when she made it to Europe, she was in Belgium for a while. She and some others from African countries, as well as her family members, they got involved in a dance and drumming group. Her younger brother Fabrice has been a part of our group for quite some time as well. And they found that dancing was healing for them. Being involved in this group was healing. So this is one of the reasons why Yvonne started this. And we began as a dance and drumming group, but the vision really has been that we will also become a cultural center, meaning that we have a number of different types of our organization. There's the Ngoma, which means drum or song in Swahili, which is one of the most widely spoken African languages. And there are other programs like the Jifu. Sorry, I'm on my phone, just muted me as a call came in, so I apologize about that. There's the Ngoma program of Ngoma Africa, and then the Jifunzi program where we do classes online, and these range from, we've had some language classes as well as some history classes and some storytelling workshops. And there are other ways that we also seek to build unity and understanding in the community. So crafts and other arts. So one of the things that we are hoping with this African Heritage Festival that we're planning to do with the University Place, that is, we are planning this year for June 5th, but we hope that this is something that we can do in the future. So I think that the grant period would extend beyond, or it starts beyond June 5th, but we're hoping to do this again. We've really wanted to do some annual event where we can showcase the diversity of African cultures and invite people in the community to come in and share those, to understand more about people in the community and share in the celebration of African culture. Usually with our performances, we also tell a story, whether that is some direct storytelling or there's a story that we tell through the dance and music and poetry. And so, for example, this year we're planning a performance at the festival of a story where we see the separation. It's kind of a historical story of the separation of African families with the slave trade. And that takes, we'll take one character to the Americas, and then we'll follow both two sisters as they go throughout their life's journeys. And one will stay in Africa and the other one in the Americas. And one of our ideas there is to build unity between Africans and African Americans, and also reach out to the African American communities who people in those communities have faced some pretty difficult things lately. And so we also want to include them. And this year, our theme is conveyed in an African term, which you may have heard of. It's Ubuntu. And this term is the term for humanity. That's the literal translation is humanity. And many people describe this idea or philosophy, the Ubuntu philosophy, Ubuntu spirit, to say that in many African languages, I am because I'm a person because of all of you. So seeing that there's a communal sense of living with each other and healing each other, and that we need to be united to ensure the well-being of all of us. So we're really excited to do that this year. And we're hoping that this festival, and this is what we've applied for help from Orem City for, but we also hope that this will help us with our other goals. Our long-term goals are to move into having a staff, a paid staff, and a center. Our vision is to have a physical center where we can be housed with others, have a hub, so to speak, where we really have a physical cultural center, and we would share with the Utah Valley Refugees Organization, other cultural organizations and groups working for the well-being of those of African descent in the area. I think that I will stop there. And I would love to take more of your questions to elaborate on anything that you are more curious about.
Leslie, real quick, it sounds like this June you do have something scheduled at University Place, correct?
Yes, we are.
How are you able to fund that?
The University Place does give us between $2,000 and $3,000, and of course the venue is really helpful. We are still in the process of soliciting sponsorship from related companies around and other donors.
Okay.
So the funding is for this, you're hoping for this event, or does it also include the classes that you guys provide?
Right now it's for the event. It's focused on the event, which we hope, again, we've worked with the University Place, and it seems that unless there's some disaster and it doesn't work out, that we plan to do this yearly.
And where do your classes take place?
We have been doing them online because of COVID, and we have had some dance rehearsals and classes and some events in outside areas and in some dance studios, but with limited attendance.
And Leslie, Vimbai, if I'm pronouncing that right, Vimbai just joined us.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes. Hello. My apologies for being late. I was just attending to my children. I have a 3-month-old baby. Yeah.
No problem. Glad to have you.
Here.
Thank you.
Maybe I can just quickly introduce Vimbai. Vimbai is from Zimbabwe, just finished a Master's of Public Administration at BYU, and she's been helping our group with fundraising and preparing materials and other strategic plans.
Wonderful.
I guess my next question would be, I know, you're kind of in this early stage of your organization, but with all the classes, the dance classes, the language classes, all those things, how many people are currently like participating with your organization?
That is a good question. We have a number of people. Vimbai, do you have an idea of numbers? I mean, they're
Okay, I know in our weekly dance rehearsals, we have an average of 15 participants coming consistently as we are preparing for the African show.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the online classes, we have an average of about 10 participants attending consistently.
Wonderful, thank you. And then in addition to that, there are about 5 or 6 board members who are participating in various roles as well.
Any guesses on what percentage of those participants are from Orem?
Okay, I know out of the 15 dancers that are attending consistently, we have 3 that are out of Orem. The rest are from Orem.
Are you counting Yvonne in that group?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that I will add here too is that the supplemental materials asked for an estimation of how many people we've reached in Orem, and that was a bit difficult to estimate because we have performed at UVU basketball halftime. We've had This Is Utah feature our group, which reached a lot of people on TV. We've done a number of events with UVU students and have reached people also with the Utah Valley Refugee Association, people who are from around the valley.
Where do you guys hope that your hub will be, wherever you build your space?
Oh, we wanted it to be in Orem because that's where a majority of the members are. That's where they live. So we wanted it to be in Orem.
As we look at funding for this year, generally, especially as we look at new organizations, our funding levels change. Generally our start in the lower end, just as we kind of learn to understand the organization. What's the amount you would need in order to continue? I guess what's kind of one of the things we've run into is sometimes we then funded so low that it just didn't even allow the event to be pulled off. We don't want to, if we were to fund, we wouldn't want to do that, of course. What's the amount you need in order to have this event kind of move forward to a second year?
Mumbai, would you like to take that one?
Okay, all right. For this year, because I think this year it's actually going to be a really big event since we're holding at the University Mall. So our budget was a little bit high. Otherwise, and also this year we included a lot of materials and resources that when we purchase or procure, they will last their durable resources, which we will not require in the coming years. So I would say in the coming years, we would need about $3,000 to hold a similar event. Like it'll be that's like an annual budget for that particular event.
Thank you, Mumbai.
Jeff, do you want to speak to kind of maybe the vision that we're kind of having for another event? And
Yes, thank you, Stephen. So I'm excited about what you're doing, and we have been talking for a while about having a celebration of diversity in Orem, where we would have a group from Polynesian groups, Hispanic groups, African American groups. Just groups from all of the different cultures that we're so blessed to have here in Orem, and really have a celebration and bring all of these groups together. And we're wondering how you would feel about maybe participating in that and share with us a little bit of dance and song and culture, costume, the bright, beautiful colors and everything that goes along with that. But our goal and our vision there is, number one, to bring everyone together of all different cultures and backgrounds and to learn more about each other and to kind of unify us as citizens of Orem and the community. But we really would love to have you participate in that. And right now we're just kind of in the process of pulling this together, but is that something that you would be interested in participating in as well, separate from your other event?
I think so. Go ahead, Mumbai.
Sorry. Oh, definitely. That is our vision for the organization. Our purpose is to showcase the African culture and also minority cultures, and educate people about the dance, the heritage, the history of Africa, the food, the dress. And so we would definitely love to be a part of that. We would absolutely love to do that. We've done it in the past with our B1 celebration, where we were showcasing the African history, and also with this event that's coming out in all our annual events. That's what we do. When we had also when we were dancing at the UVU, we were talking about that. So it's something that is our vision, our mission. It's a part of us. We definitely would love to participate in that multicultural event.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yes, please reach out. Let us know.
We will do that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, we're out of time. Anyone else have any questions? Well, thank you. We want to see the baby.
He's very cute.
Okay, this is it.
And thank you both. This is an amazing.
Oh my heavens.
That's the little man.
Gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you as well.
About $1 million right there.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
thank you. I'm a teacher here in this area, and I love things like this as an opportunity to share with our students, because we do learn about immigration and refugees. That's cool. So thank you.
Wonderful.
Yes, yeah, most.
Thank you.
Right. Have a good evening. Thank you for coming.
You
Yeah,
too. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. Well, thank you. Sorry for the beginning. It was a little rough there getting everyone in and out, but I think it finally smoothed out a little bit. So appreciate this.
And I will send, we
interesting.
asked, as you saw, maybe this year we shortened our application significantly for those that are returning applicants, because we knew they were essentially having to just recreate the same information every year. But for new applications, we did send supplemental information. It was due tonight by 5. At about 4:30, I got the last one in. So I'll send those 3 new organizations. I will send that supplemental information probably tomorrow. And so you can kind of look through that. And what the supplemental information is essentially what the rest of the application used to be that we would ask for every year from every applicant. But I heard from multiple, Ken and I worked through that this year on trying to simplify the application. And there was quite a few that were excited about a shortened application for sure. But we thought, well, too short of an application means everybody will apply because it's really easy. So the supplemental information at least make sure that they're putting additional thought into their application. So
does anyone want to discuss any of them tonight, or do we want to wait till May 13th? What do you want to do, Stephen?
if there's any specific questions, I know Laurel, with this being your new year, if there's any specific questions you have, for sure, we can of course you have contact information in the applications if there's anybody you wanted to reach out to, but however.
I decided to finally turn my internet's been crap all day. So I was like, this is my face. You'll see me at Miss. I'm always there, or Petco. My dogs are the loud ones. How do y'all not just want to give everybody the money? Like, how do you guys do that? Because I'm like, oh yeah, money for you, money for you, money for you too. Like, it's kind of hard not to, like, and I know you have to say no to some people, but I just was really impressed with everybody tonight. Like, I feel like there's so much, I really, like, every single one, like, yay, you're hitting that target population. Yay, you're helping the youth. Yay, you're helping the seniors, right? Like, just some really awesome projects and programs, and it's kind of fun.
I agree with you. And I'll turn the time over to Jeff and Dave Spencer from our city council, as they ultimately will make final decisions. We'll recommend to the council, but we do look for those opportunities to diversify the funding, so we're hitting different audiences, like you said, Laurel. And tonight was a pretty diverse group for sure.
I think the main thing is how often they are serving the Orem population is the key, because it's Orem's money, not Provo or American Fork. So that's where we need to hone in and say, it might be perfect, but if you're not really servicing Orem more than one time, it's hard to give them an amount of money. I wasn't able to look and see exactly what the amounts requested. So I don't know if we can go through that real quick.
Yeah, I can pull something out. Give me just a second.
Yeah, well, I was trying to find it on my computer, but if we could just go through maybe and look at that, and then we don't really know how much piece of the pie we're going to have depending on with the major grants. So I think we set a limit last time, wasn't it, like 75 grand or something?
Let's
or what was it? I wasn't on it last year.
So this, yeah. So it looks like last year we were about 63 because we were anticipating a big cut. Historically, we've been pushing 70 to 75, I think, in that range.
And I still think that's probably maybe the 70. I think that's where we needed to have a baseline and sort of figure if we can stay around there, and then we go from there.
Now this year's a little different, given we've always been based on how much money was available, and this year's a little different. But yeah.
Yeah, and we can always carry that over too if we don't spend it, correct? Or no?
Yeah, anything that doesn't get spent goes into a fund balance and gets reallocated the next year.
Okay, so Utah, the bloggers, where are they at? Let's see.
Actually, I'm not on mute right now.
So 620 is what they're asked for. They've gotten 500 in the past.
So $620?
Yes.
Okay, and then the Chantinets,
They asked for 5,500.
So they in the medium?
Yeah.
And Colonial Heritage Festival?
Just under 10.
So
9,999, which is the max they can ask for. So Laura, what we'll do is the commission will make a recommendation together, and then that recommendation will go to the city council, and they'll have the ability to either adjust it if they feel the need, or accept it, either way. But it'll be the commission's opportunity to make a recommendation.
And then the Grassroots, they're at 9670.
Yep.
And we gave them last year
4,000.
Yeah, that's a huge jump. Okay.
Yeah. Can you remind me again how much more? I mean, I guess we do have some more that we could give out, because I know last year we scaled back quite a bit from what we've done before. So I'm hoping like you're saying, if we can at least meet our previous thing. But how much did you say we had extra this year?
So
or
this year, the amount to fund on the art side is 1,206,000.
Oh, okay.
Last year, we've on the art side, we were at 936,000.
Oh,
So
okay.
$260,000 more, essentially.
Wow. Okay. It's a
So-
lot of groceries.
On the Brazilian festival, okay, where are they at? So they're
8,000. So
8,000?
yeah, with Grassroots, while they are at, that's essentially the same amount they've asked for the last 3 years. So they're not asking for much different. Just
okay. So and then so Orem Corral was $49.99, and the last one, the Nagami, or
9,750.
Okay. So, and then how many people applied last year compared to this year? Do we have 3 more, you said, or
3 new applicants, and there's a couple that dropped off. And I can't remember. I'd have to look to see the number that dropped off. There was a few that dropped off.
okay? So, and Heart and Soul, what is that? What is that?
That was from last year. They didn't apply this year. They're the ones that go into care facilities and do. We have one more net. We net one additional application this year. Heart and Soul didn't apply this year. Last year, they've applied for the last couple of years. They go into senior care facilities and sing for those that can't leave their room.
Okay. And Center Stage did not
apply.
Okay. And you said the Geezer Fest?
Yeah, it's done under this foundation, Utah Live Concerts Foundation.
So that's the new. Okay, so you're asking for 48. Okay. So I guess that just my I've been on the committee for quite a while, and then I was off, I think, for a couple of years. But I just think we need to see, what benefits the city of Orem and the citizens of Orem, and if they're local. I mean, if they're all over the place, we just need to make sure we sort of maybe tailor it down and not give them the full amount. So we need to get the bang for our buck. So, in my opinion, so.
And then, David, just one quick question on you guys said the pipe band is not new, right? Like they've applied for several years, it looks like.
Correct.
If you fund them, can you say, if we fund you X amount of dollars, sounds like they kind of do scholarships by way of instruments. Can we ask that those funds would go just to Orem residents, or?
Yeah, we can. We can get pretty specific in the agreement that they'll sign, and it's all done on reimbursement. So they have to show us what was spent.
Oh, that's awesome.
They could show. I guess they could show they bought the instrument, but do we know it went to an Orem resident, or if maybe there's not an Orem resident? I don't know. So I guess.
No, I mean, could we even do it like they have to buy it from I don't know. I don't know where you can buy bagpipes. I don't know if anywhere in Orem sells bagpipes, but the drums you could go to Summer Haze. I don't know about the bagpipes though.
Sure, no. I think, and anything that's going to help any Orem business or Orem citizen. I mean, that's what the care tax is for, and that's why we vote it. And our sales tax, it's 1/10 of 1%. So it does add up. And I think, Steve, you do have things that on the art side that the city probably wants to fund. So that 1.2 is not
correct.
It's got to go to the Sarah and the Hale and the ballet, and then other projects the city. So it depends on, I think 75,000 probably is a good number. Because we were 71, 40, and then now we're at 88. So we would have to cut some. I think we did 70 to 75,000. I think we're probably okay, because then it's cutting somebody 13 grand. But at least it's
so I think when we looked at it, just running some basic numbers, I think we have the ability, if we were at or a little above the mini and mids together. See, last year was different too, though, right? Last year we gave Colonial $1,800, and historically we've always given them 9 to 10. So we know that this year is going to be a little different. So it's going to be up from what we probably did last year, likely. There is some city-related applications. You'll see those at the bottom. The council has asked, and this was going to be funded last year until we've made the cut. They want to do a feasibility study for the new Hale Center Theater that's going to be built at University Place. There's a request in for a performance piano at the Library Hall. Additional public art is something for our Arts Council. And in our arts district, which is down at Sarah, working with council, working with the Arts Council, what has been discussed was the toddler playground, which is just north of the Sarah Shell, to create an art-centric playground. The idea was, if anybody knows James Christensen, the famous Orem artist who passed away, he did a lot of fantasy-themed art. The idea was to have a fantasy-themed art playground, kind of in honor. We need to replace the playground, doing that in honor of James Christensen and his artwork. That request is half funded on the art side and half funded. You'll see that on the rec side as well. So those are the city requests. And then there's obviously the major grant applications.
Is the Engelman Mountain School, what is that?
That they did not qualify. They applied, but they don't qualify for our grant.
Okay. All right. So, and my question is on the piano. I think we talked about maybe leasing that, so it's not a huge $30,000 cost. But I don't know if we looked at that or not, because
we know what the Hale and Sarah encouraged us to do is go get a donation, and we couldn't get. Nobody was willing to donate one, so we haven't had luck there.
I mean, don't they lease those, and maybe that would be better, just like we lease our police cars, or.
Yeah, that'll be a discussion the city council has the opportunity to have, for sure. I don't want to take.
I'd hate to go and buy a band piano if we could lease it for whatever a year and extend it out and not cost 30 grand. But okay, Jeff, you got anything to say? Maybe he left.
I'm still here. No, I'm just scrambling. I've got another meeting that I've got to get to over in Lehigh.
Okay.
But back to Laurel's original question and comment. Yeah, there are some wonderful things, and pretty much we try to help everyone. Based on the guidelines and the criteria that Dave went over. But I for the most part, we try and help everyone as much as we can.
Well, and like you said, and personally, and I think just otherwise, very important that diversity and minorities are represented, and especially as a city too. So I think y'all are already on board with that and creating new things, but I think that's wonderful that we're doing that because it's needed.
No, I agree 100%. And I think we just need to make sure that it is, maybe they are an Orem and they're going to perform an Orem quite a bit, because it is Orem's money. So that would be my only, 2 cents on that. So.
Be nice if University Place would donate a bunch of, space there for their center. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Maybe that Woodbury Court, maybe. Just kidding. That's a different grant.
It's a different, it's a possibility. Okay.
Okay.
So when is the next meeting?
So the next mini and mid is the 13th of May, I believe. Is that right, Kenna?
That is correct.
And then on May 11th is when we'll have the discussions in a city council meeting with the majors.
May 11th.
May 11th with the majors, May 13th, the mini and mids. And then the May 25th is when the council will deliberate the allocation, and then it would be adopted in the next city council meeting. So May 13th, at the end of that meeting, is when the commission, the citizens here, will put together a recommendation to go to the city council on the mini and mid-major applicants.
And then on the 11th, we hear the majors.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. No, it's good. This is a fun time. So glad we've got the money that we can help these people. So.
Yep.
Stacey, you have any questions or any concerns?
Anything else tonight then? Right, well, I will send you the link to the next meeting right before the next meeting, and I'll send out those dates so that if you guys want to join those council meetings, you can as well, just to be part of that. Any other questions? One of the other things that we'll be sending you before the May 13th meeting is our current care recipients have filled out kind of like a year to date, how they've been doing with COVID, things like that, the money that has been spent or not spent, or why it has been spent. We'll send that out to you as well prior to the next meeting, so you can kind of get a feel for how they use their money. It's a little bit of a different year just because of COVID, though, just to keep that in mind. A lot of them weren't able to spend all their money because of COVID, as many of them mentioned tonight. So we'll send that out to you as well prior to the next meeting, so you have that information.
It's been fun hearing the creative ways that they've been coming up with things they can do to kind of still be engaged and do their work in the midst of a pandemic.
I know, a video game. Who would have ever thought?
I know, that was
a video game. That's crazy.
pretty amazing.
So,
Kenna, would you send the packet that we sent to the commission with the PDF of that spreadsheet with the numbers?
yeah, it's been sent out.
Will you send that to Dave?
I gave it to Dave.
Oh,
yeah, send it again. I don't know what I did with it.
Okay, I'll send it again.
Okay.
All right. Well, have a good night, everyone. Any other questions? Thank you for spending your evening. Go eat DoorDash. Okay. See you.
Thanks. Nice to meet y'all.
Bye.